What's up, guys? It's Scar here from theScore eSports here with Krepo, current EU LCS caster. Krepo, what are you doing down here?
I'm just a big Scarra fan, so I had about 3 days off and decided to get on a plane and come to NA LCS and meet my idol.
You can see Scarra getting a lot of applause.
While you're down here, you're watching NA LCS. Do you really like NA LCS? Do you watch NA LCS in your downtime, or are you more of just a EU LCS kind of guy?
It's a lot harder nowadays to catch up with all the regions because I have to VOD review my own region right now first instead of watching other regions. But whenever I can, I tune in for a couple of games. Just to see what's going on, general trends, is somebody finally going to upset TSM? Turns out they do it while I'm on a flight. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I watch all these games for no reason, and then P1 does it. But yeah, interesting to see that they lost.
You always got to bet on the underdogs against TSM. They've always lost against the bottom-ranked team in every single split they've ever played. And P1's kind of a bottom-ranked team, so I'll give it to that. You just got to bet one of the bottom 3 teams. So while you're down here, how is EU LCS? From you guys are doing best of 2s this split. We're doing best of 3s. Yeah. Which format do you really think is better?
Oh, you're asking a Ryan and play about the formats? That's bold. No, I think both have their advantages. One is good for at least scheduling wise. People can tune in and find out when their teams are playing. It's easy for us to plan our day too because there's less variance. I do agree with some of the sentiment that people want to see winners in series. I don't agree with the sentiment that's ties are bad, I'm like, then you should have just won 2 games, dude. If you want rewards for consistency, best of 2 rewards it more. But I totally understand people that like best of 3 more, and then I'm not against it at all. Obviously I'm not really involved in making that decision either. So I think it's cool that series can have a clear winner, but I really hate the notion of oh no, best of 2, the tie is really bad, blah blah blah. When pro players start whining, I'm like, dude, then just be consistent. Half the games that tie is the best teams throwing or just screwing up for no reason. I'm like, yeah, well, too bad then.
Actually, for best of 2s, it's better for me as an interviewer because of scheduling reasons. I just personally think best of 3s are probably better for the players. Do you get a lot of player remarks from the European pros? Because I'm sure you talk to them about how they don't like the best of 2 format.
I mean, some. There's definitely out there that don't like it as much. They're slightly more vocal. We take it into account. We always work with all feedback and try and get it to the people that make those decisions. And who knows?
So while you're out here, we were just having this conversation before. Throughout the years, obviously, NA LCS production has been very, very good. And while other regions have typically tend to lag behind, is there any kind of plans for EU LCS to be able to get a really, really strong production in the coming, I guess, next year?
Well, I don't think from the show perspective, EU is behind NA at all in terms of production. I think we just have different approaches. Our analyst desk has a slightly different goal and guest list. We have a lot of our casters on there. While here in NA, they work with guest analysts. NA covers both streams more. We tend to focus on a single game, which is fine. I don't think any style is preferred by all means. But yeah, there's a lot more content coming out from North America. The Teamfight Breakdown, and we're working hard in Europe. Recruiting new people to hopefully get that stuff out because we have some really talented people in the office. Like Deficio, if you could get into his head and get all his concepts out of what he wants to explain, assisted in a nice graphical manner, it would be pretty dope. Because the sad part right now is people don't want to be taught analysis, unless it comes in a shiny package, with a nice little string on top, or whatever it's called, like a bow tie. People don't really like analysis. They want to be entertained more these days, I feel, which is a bit of a shame. Because we have to strike a balance, especially in our casts too. How much jokes do we make versus how much do we just go dry analysis? What do the viewers like more? But definitely, we're looking to recruit more, graphics people, video people in Europe, and then hopefully we can get Deficio, especially to start pushing out a lot of content.
You talk about the mind of Deficio.
Yeah.
What is the mind of Krepo like? Are you just super analytical? Or where are your strengths?
My strengths. If a laning meta comes back, I think it's super. I think the concept of cooldown trading and zoning for CS and pure lanes is really fun. Mostly because I can somewhat play on that level still. I'm a master / challenger sometimes, bot laner. So the concepts are still very fresh to me. And I think there's a lot of beauty in just laning 2v2, 1v1, gang paths, alteration of jungle, but it requires a lot of analysis and kind of going back in time during a game to see how something came to be. And that's more of a VOD review thing rather than a live casting. But yeah, those are the things I really enjoy. Spring Split and lane swaps I actually really enjoyed because you could see a 3-second tempo advantage build and then manifest in a Herald, which manifested in a Herald push. But right now, Herald's removed. So like your tempo advantage doesn't matter anymore. It just matters at what point you end up on bot side of the map when you take Dragon. So yeah, small, unique like tweaks in strategy is something I really enjoy, but also just entertaining people. I've had some casts with like QuickShot and C5 where we just kind of went off the grid, started like joking and memeing and like making sure that people tuned in and just like, you know what, I had fun watching that game despite the game itself not delivering. And I think it's great if we can also do that.
Speaking about games not delivering, in Europe right now, you brought up before that some teams, if they wanted to, if they cared about ties, they should just 2-0. Yeah. What is stopping some teams from being very consistent in Europe right now?
Ooh, it depends on each team. Each team has their crux, dude. Like there are some teams that play like very dense mid games because like they always want to group for some reason. Like they feel very safe in like strength and numbers, but then like they can't split push to close out a game. Like Baron setups are very poor outside of the top 3. Like they have like the foundations down, but then they like let somebody sneak in a ward, or they don't push out their waves after they get vision, etc. Also one of the concepts that I love a lot, Baron baits. I think it's the most beautiful thing in the game. But yeah, I think like refining their strategy and also just teams get better at defending, right? Like throughout the years, like people know like when they're gonna get screwed, and that's why they back off, and that's why the game also gets passive. For example, like people are so aware right now in 2v2 trades if they're gonna die at the end of it, so they'll just not take the trade. But back in the day, people would just donkey trade all the time, and somebody would die, and it was like a bloodbath, and people enjoyed it.
All right. Finally, what are you looking to improve about yourself? I find that when almost everyone has a goal in mind for like, if not the year, like at least a temporary goal. As a pro player, people are like, oh, I want to get better at laning. I want to get better at this. And even casters like, I want to articulate better. What is your goal right now?
Oh, I didn't know vocal warm-ups, and I wasn't ready for this interview, so my diction sucked, like this interview. It's really hard to understand me sometimes. When I speak quickly, I mumble. So that is the main thing I'm working on. Because it doesn't matter what you say. If you don't know how to say it, people will not listen. That's why I have so much respect for casters like Monty. Like Monty could you point at this wall and say that it's red, and people would believe him. Like for a fraction of a second, and it's like, oh no, wait a second, that wall isn't red. Like Monty, you be lying to me. Because he's just so good at like delivery jab as well, you know? These are some strong, you know, eloquent, like good diction casters, and that's what I like want to improve. And then mainly keep up with the grind, with the VAR review, make sure that I always have something unique to add. Because I hate it when you get to a point where you're just reiterating the same thing you said last week and the week before, and your knowledge gets outdated and you lose like the passion. Like you really need to like keep looking for new stuff, you know, nuggets of like new analysis.
Well, do you have anything last minute to shout out to your fans? Anyone who still watches EU LCS just for you?
If you ever see me, just ask me for a picture. Because I don't know, maybe it's because they're resting Mitch face, but like people seem to be afraid to approach me sometimes. It's like, Krepo, is that you? I'm like, yeah. Can I get a picture? I'm like, yeah, dude, like totally. Like if you ever see me, ask me for a picture or just a chat. Yeah, and thank you for the support. Love my fans.
One of the best EU LCS casters in the world. I'm your Krepo scarra here from theScore eSports. You can find more content online on our mobile app. Thank you guys. Hope you guys have a nice day.